showdown. Woo! Let's get started.
Go, 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 go!
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Cordkillers. Our mission to report the intel from the front lines of the cord-cutting revolution so you, my friends, can choose to watch what you want, when you want, where you want, on whatever device you want, through whatever service you want. I'm Tom Merritt, but that man is Brian Brushwood. Did I just see you in the opening video?
Look, I mean, our opening video, because we're big fans of the reality genre, I decided to throw the Dance Showdown Season 4 promotional package, where they talk about the fact that their competition reality dance show features crap, that's definitely my face. Yeah, man, we can now reveal that I am in Los Angeles.
Now it can be told.
Living in your spare bedroom.
He basically lives right where you're seeing him if you're watching this on video.
Yeah, well, you know, I'm a very
we just fold him down,
dancey guy, and I always wear Under Armour training clothes. I'm always stinking from
Today's
all the
show not
dancing
brought to you by Under Armour.
And we're always doing Cordkillers on special nights.
Yes, right. No, if you're wondering, if you're watching live and you're like, or even seeing this Monday morning in your feed somehow, and you're like, why is this here early?
Yep.
Brian's got a rigorous schedule for the arts. You know, he devotes himself to the arts now.
That is putting it mildly.
You're like the Arts and Entertainment Channel embodied.
I barely danced at my own wedding, and it is like I have to get so drunk before I'll join a dance floor and start dancing.
Was that in your rider?
I require this much whiskey, but to be honest, that's the reason I said yes. Is I was like, I don't want to do it. I don't want to do it, and it's like, why? I'm like, because I'm scared. And then the bigger part of my brain is like, well, guess what, bro?
That's a good reason to do something.
You gotta do it.
Yeah.
So yes, I'm in Dance Showdown Season 4. It's basically Dancing with the Stars, but for YouTube celebrities. And yeah, met a bunch of really, really cool people. Excited about it.
Now, the other thing about doing this on Sunday night is normally when the Emmys happen or the Oscars or anything like that, the next day we record Cordkillers on a Monday, and then we can tell you like, oh, this Netflix show, that Amazon show, won stuff. Few have been announced already as we're recording this, but our satellite producer, Eileen Rivera, is on location in Los Angeles. And will be keeping us up to date throughout the show.
Wait, I mean, do we have that in the budget? We were able to do that?
Yeah.
She's all the way in Los Angeles.
All the way.
Because that's weird, because I saw her upstairs watching the Emmys.
That's in Los Angeles.
Oh, she's watching the satellite feed.
Technically,
All right.
I mean, the satellite feed is then broadcast over the air.
Shall we jump in with the primary target?
Real, since I brought it up, Jill Soloway won for Best Director on Transparent. Jeffrey Tambor, Best Lead Actor in a Comedy on Transparent. And right before the show started, Uzo Aduba, Crazy Eyes from Orange is the New Black, Best Supporting Actress in a Drama.
Dude, I'll tell you what, it's like this was news a year or two ago that they were getting nominated for Emmys, and now they're winning, and it's like, well, duh. Some of the best television out there is on Netflix.
It's no longer like, ooh, a cord-cutting thing won. It's like, oh, how do the cord-cutting things do compared to the other things?
You know what just hit me is this is certainly Amazon's first Emmy, right?
No, I don't. Well, that we should fact check that.
Okay.
I believe they may have got a Golden Globe, and I'm confusing that with an Emmy. So it might be their first Emmy. I know they've won before for Transparent, though.
Okay. Well, yeah.
So it wouldn't have been an Emmy because it wouldn't.
Correct, because it only came out. Yeah. So that's huge. The fact that we got two over-the-top services.
It's Amazon's week. They're our primary target.
What? Smooth.
Gotcha.
We got him. Nailed it. Damn.
That is not a game I ever mean to play.
That's my new favorite thing. I get a thrill when I hear an involuntary, damn it, from Bryce.
Really, honestly, not trying to throw Bryce off. Latest Amazon Fire TV was announced last week. It's $100, so no price change. Same price as the old one. Ships October 5th. You can pre-order it right now. Supports the high-efficiency video codec, which means it can do 4K. Even does some nifty things if it detects that it's connected to a 4K-capable television to surface 4K content for you to watch. Has now integrated Alexa, the voice assistant from the Amazon Echo, into voice search so it can discover content, queue up media, and eventually they'll update it to be fully capable of doing things like setting timers and alarms. A new 64-bit quad-core processor and a dedicated GPU means you should see a performance upgrade as well. A couple other minor things. They now sell, in addition to the $40 Fire TV stick, they'll sell you a $50 Fire TV stick, which just means it comes with the voice search remote. You wouldn't have to buy it separately. They also have a bundle called the Amazon TV Gaming Edition, which has the new Fire TV with a game controller, a 32-gigabyte micro SD card, and 2 free games for $140. That one ships October 5th as well. And Amazon is claiming that Fire TV is among the top for customer loyalty for internet television. It says Sling TV has people watching 16 hours per week on the Fire TV, and that is the most hours per week of any platform.
I got to tell you, man, I really almost completely fell in love with my Fire TV stick. It was only the fact that it couldn't maintain that Wi-Fi connection, that it dropped off of my regular jam. But for the first time since freaking high school, I find myself in this TurboGrafx 16 versus Sega Genesis moment where I'm going to have to, it's very unlikely that I'm going to buy both the Amazon Fire TV and the new Apple TV, although both of them have a lot of things that I like.
You could.
Well, I mean,
because of the show.
I'm like, okay, fine.
You could, but as a consumer, in your consumer brain,
yes,
you're thinking, well, I would just choose one of them.
But again, from a practical standpoint, I really like buying stuff in the Amazon environment. When I buy a new movie, because I'm on Amazon all the time, I use my Prime account for my business. We're always buying pieces for packages for scam stuff or whatever. So it makes sense to throw it in there because that's an environment I know I'm going to stay in forever and ever. Whereas iTunes, that would be me going and starting a new collection somewhere. And I already have so much material. I have so many series, so many movies all there. So even though iTunes, the Apple TV will likely have, I love Siri, and it probably has better integration because you get full Siri, whereas Alexa is still working its way up, or the Echo, or did they call it the Echo? Or
Amazon
or
Echo is the device.
Yeah.
Alexa is the voice assistant.
Okay.
Kind of like the iPhone is the device,
right.
Siri is the voice assistant. Yeah.
Right. So I find myself really torn, and in fact, maybe this is a good thing. Let's go ahead and shout out now. Write us at cordkillers@gmail.com if you feel like this is a buy both of them situation, because again, I don't see myself switching between the two.
And I think most people wouldn't buy both.
Correct.
Right?
I feel like they're going to get one or the other.
And you're going to pick an ecosystem. And it used to be, I would say, go Fire TV because you can get Vudu, you can get Pluto TV, but we may see all of that stuff on the new Apple TV now that they have an SDK. So it becomes less of a clear choice and more of like, well, which app ecosystem is doing better? And Apple's a big question mark there.
Yep. Well, and also
because it's not as easy as just taking an iOS app and saying, put it on Apple TV, because they don't have WebKit. There's modifications that have to be made. So not everybody's just going to flip a switch and do it.
You know, and when the Apple TV announcement happened, I was like, yeah, of course Amazon will make an app. But now looking at this, I was like, I don't know that it's in their best interest to do that. I mean, they'll make money or whatever. But
it is in their best interest to do it. The same reason it was in their best interest to make a Kindle app for iPad,
for iOS,
but also still sell Kindles.
Yeah.
Whether they'll feel the way you do, though, and go, well, maybe it's too similar. Let's hold off.
I mean, how much from this, let's say this gaming bundle, it sounds to me that in that, you know, you see that grid with like has blank, check mark, check mark, check mark. It sounds like they're really doing their best to match the Apple TV note for note. As far as, now granted, it's not full Alexa.
You just angered every non-Apple fanboy out there.
Oh, why?
Because everybody's like, no, Brian, Amazon was here first. Roku was here first. It's Apple that's playing catch up and matching them, not them matching Apple TV. Damn it!
But Apple TV was a significant advancement over the Fire TV.
Not really.
And then, really, you don't think with the full Siri integration and the ability?
I mean, Amazon Fire TV already had voice recognition.
Yeah,
Apple TV didn't. Apple TV
different.
Added voice recognition.
That's different.
So now Amazon is like, oh.
Siri is more than.
I mean, they showed some nifty tricks on stage, but jury's still out what it can actually do.
Well, you're right. And both of us are speculating wildly, but that's kind of what we do. I got to tell you, Apple TV was a slam dunk. Now it's no longer a slam dunk for me because I'm going to look at both possibilities.
It's funny. I buy on Vudu for the purposes that you buy on Amazon, because I'm like, if I buy on Vudu, they're in Ultraviolet, they're in Disney Movies Anywhere. So it's for movies specifically.
Right.
And then I know I can get Vudu on iOS, I can get Vudu on the Fire TV, I can get Vudu. Like, I buy Vudu because they're on all the platforms. Mm-hmm. So it gives me more flexibility until this weekend when I realized that now that I've totally cut the satellite.
Right.
I have to buy Doctor Who. And I
Right.
bought it on Apple. And you know
really?
why?
Why?
Because I've had voodoo delivery problems in the past where I bought something on TV and then I had to call them and they fixed it, right? Totally 100% want to give Voodoo credit
But
for
you
like
will never
great customer
forget
support.
that moment when you
But
felt the
when
anxiety
I'm
being
like,
cut off.
I want to watch Doctor Who the second it is available for download.
Yep.
I have subscribed to shows on Apple before and only ever had that problem once 3 or 4 years ago. So I went with Apple because I'm like reliability.
So did you
in my mind?
Did you even consider Amazon buying it or?
No, because you can't download it.
Oh,
I mean, you can. I don't want to say you can't, but they prefer on the web that you just watch it in the browser.
Yeah, which I actually like. And to be honest,
but I want to be able to put it elsewhere.
It's funny, the little things that you really notice. For example, on HBO Now, as we've talked about before, I like to not miss any subtle nuances, so I always leave the closed captioning on. And HBO Now has a hideous implementation. It looks like it's a 1986, white text on a black background in a giant font that takes up the bottom third of the screen, whereas Amazon has a very elegant one, as does Netflix as well, and you're able to customize it, make it whatever size you want, change the color and all that stuff. It's really, which again, that is a nutty, weird, sideways, very niche thing, and yet it matters because you're not just buying the device, you are buying the ecosystem and the home and the ability to, like, I know I
Unless
can watch
you go
it on my
Voodoo
phone.
And then you're cross-platform.
Well, yeah, until apparently they don't deliver your stuff and you have to make a phone call to get it fixed.
Don't believe everything Tom Merritt says. What were we going to say, Bryce?
And on HBO Now, it's really hard to change those captions. Like sometimes that menu doesn't even work.
It doesn't work. It has never worked for me.
It doesn't save your preference of how you want your captions either.
Yeah, well, in my case, it's just now I'm watching on Chrome on my downstairs PC. I've never successfully changed it. It says like, oh, it's now blue with a transparent background, and then meanwhile, just white on black font or whatever. So.
Or when there's no text on screen, you'll still see little shaded boxes where the blank
where nothing is going on. Yeah. No, they definitely could use an overhaul on the HBO Now stuff.
Last thing before we get off this topic is Amazon making a point of saying we have the most apps of any platform now. They don't say how many. Roku says they have more than 2,500 apps. My guess is Amazon counts. I mean, they say we're talking about games as well as channels. Amazon probably just pushed a lot of games over there and now says we've got lots of stuff. But I think it's less significant whether Amazon's right or not, and more significant that now it's time for yardsticks since Apple has an SDK.
Yeah, well, and that's the thing is they understood like there's only one moment they'll be able to say that, and it's for the next 20 minutes before the flood of all of the Apple apps starts coming in. So right now is the chance to tout that.
But you know what we have? We here at Cordkillers have more patrons than Apple has apps for the Apple TV at this point.
How many apps do they got? 7?
I don't know. No, it's more like 30 or 40 on there. I mean,
really?
they haven't opened they haven't opened the App Store yet. So
Fair
like
enough.
the default apps that come, 30 or 40, I
Okay.
think, that are on there.
We
Yeah,
have
we got
slightly
way
more.
more than that.
Yeah, I don't know. Try on this number for size. 2,098 supporters. Kicking in about $2,000 per
Tim
episode,
Cook.
keeping us loud, live, and independent. Hey, guys, don't forget that it's been a while since we bugged you on it, but make sure to check your credit card information. We have a bunch of, we're about to do another purge. We have to drop all those patrons. That number's about to go down, but we got to purge everyone who has a bogus credit card. So that number's a little bit inflated, but
Listen,
thank
Brian.
thank you so much. For all you guys who get value out of our show,
Brian.
love that you pay a little value to us.
It happened to me, Brian.
What happened?
Are
you one of them?
I got an email from Scott Johnson that said, "Dear supporter of my show, your credit card has been declined."
Oh,
And it was an expiration date.
Yep.
An expiration date had just passed in August.
That's what it always is.
And that's all it was. Credit card information was fine.
Yep.
My card wasn't actually being declined.
All you gotta
it
do
was
is
just
log in.
saying we don't have the proper expiration date.
And
It was very easy to
slacker.
fix. You go in, you put in the proper expiration date. Bob's your uncle, and he's paying it because I was using his credit
good
card.
old Bob, always paying our bill.
Thanks, Bob.
Yeah.
And thanks to all of our patrons. Shall we see some signals intelligence?
Yes, we shall.
I have great news for you fans of British programming from the BBC networks here in the United States. The BBC will offer a streaming service in the United States, Brian.
Yeah. Hey, congratulations! They finally woke up the way
God
HBO
save
did.
the Queen. The programs that aren't already screened on TV channels or available on existing streaming services will be on there. Yeah. So
Hold on.
lots of great
wait,
stuff.
Wait,
Lots of great
there was
stuff.
a little caveat in there. So like I could watch Sherlock, right?
Well, no, Sherlock is available on Netflix and then airs on PBS, so that one won't be in there.
Oh,
probably.
Okay, but I can watch Doctor Who though, right?
No, that one's also on Netflix and on BBC America. So
Black Mirror. I can watch Black Mirror.
That Netflix has that one too. So that was a Channel 4 show, not a BBC show.
So what you're saying is, crank up those VPNs and stick
What
to
I'm saying
business
is,
as usual.
if you want old episodes of Call the Midwife,
oh god,
it's gonna be awesome. It's gonna be awesome.
BBC,
Bake Off,
you're
all the
killing
Bake
me.
Off you can watch.
Okay, this is almost worse because the BBC was doing the HBO thing and that they were artificially creating a black market for their programming by having no legal way to watch it. And as a matter of fact, Channel 4 is doing the same thing. We'll talk about it later on. When we were
ITV does it with Downton Abbey.
Correct. When we were trying to watch Utopia, the only way to see it at all is to VPN and stream it from the
Or
Channel
get a
4.
Blu-ray sent to you by or
Physical
purchase.
media.
You can purchase a Blu-ray.
Don't even
also.
talk to me about physical media. And so, come on, Tom, that's crazy talk. But BBC at least had the cachet, the way HBO did, of being very popular and kind of underground or whatever, because there was no legal way to do it. If you're going to make that leap, you got to do the HBO Now thing where you get everything. But do you think it's licensing deals that prevent them from doing that?
It's absolutely what it is. They are saying, look, everything that we have the license to stream in the United States, we're going to throw in this app, and it will get better over time. So I think what they're saying is
we're going to write that into all future agreements.
BBC's been on the air since the 20s, right? I think it was 1926. They got loads of interesting stuff, lots of great documentaries, classic shows like Red Dwarf will be in there. I imagine old classics of Doctor Who, which there are only a few available for streaming in the US. They'll probably put the entire library. Planet Earth might be in there. Like, there's going to be great stuff in there, but the headliners are tied up in other licensing deals for the time being. I bet as time goes on, the way Doctor Who moved from Sci-Fi Channel to BBC America, they're probably going to move these from Netflix to BBC.
Quick question. Was this an official announcement or is this
the official announcement just said programs that aren't already screened on TV or available on existing streaming services, no price, coming sometime next year.
The price thing kind of has me a little bit nervous too, because it's like, how much would you pay for a back catalog of a random smatter? I mean, it's kind of like going back to old Hulu with BBC.
Yeah, you've got to think about it like a Netflix pre-House of Cards, right? Mm-hmm. Which is, I'm going to get lots of really interesting miniseries. The original House of Cards is on Netflix right now, but imagine more stuff like that that is undiscovered. You're going to see all of Monty Python in there.
What's your must-buy price for this? Because I don't see myself spending more than $4.99.
£5.
Yeah. How much is that? That's like
I don't even know.
or something.
No, yeah, it would probably be like $8 exactly.
No, that's too much.
I would say it'd have to be 10 or less.
Oh,
it'd have to be below 10.
I mean, for a spotty back catalog, it has to be 5 or less.
Well, it's not spot. The back catalog is going to be strong, but I think my worry is that it's mostly back catalog.
Yeah,
it's not going to have a lot of.
I think you have to go for what's that new competitor for the guy who started Discovery has got that one thing and he's doing it for like $4.99.
I think you could get away with 8. And you just got to do a lot of work to let the Brian Brushwoods of the world know, like, hey, you forgot this is in here and this is in here, and like really highlight that classic stuff. But you paid $8 for Netflix before they had anything good.
No, but they did have. They didn't have any originals.
They had a lot of back catalog, is what I'm saying.
They had movies, right? And
they had old stuff.
Caliber. Yes. But the problem is here in America, we're not all that familiar with the back catalog of BBC programming.
Well, I think we're more familiar than you might think. Red Dwarf is very popular. Monty Python, very popular.
Blink 7 or something.
Are You Being Served?
Yeah.
Blink 187.
No, Blake 7.
The band. They have a series, okay, I'm sure.
That's our cue.
All right, let's move on to Gear Up. Blink 7. All right. This is a leak, not an official announcement, but it's a definite leak where you like see the evidence. Basically, 9 to 5 Google got their hands on some product materials for a forthcoming announcement from Google. Google has an announcement on September 29th, and it looks like they'll announce new Chromecast. The new Chromecast will have a smaller round form factor. So instead of the stick, you're just going to have the round part. Come in 3 colors, a red, yellow, and black. Feature content feeds on the home screen that you can program, something called Fast Play that just gets your videos going faster, and a new Chromecast for audio that's different from the Chromecast for video, codename Hendrix. This one can Wi-Fi enable any speaker through the aux jack. So basically turn any speaker you already have into a Sonos by plugging this Chromecast audio in it. And in fact, can support multiple speakers. So if you get a few Chromecast audios, plug them into different speakers in different rooms, you can stream the same music to all of them at the same time. And it will support Spotify. That's supposedly also going to be announced on September 29th.
So let's talk about, first of all, I assume the price is probably going to be the same. They haven't announced anything.
I'm going to guess the price is going to be the same.
Yeah.
Like they'd be stupid to raise the price.
And that to me is
35, is that what it is, I think?
Yeah, so we have a fairly significant upgrade in capability. We have new stuff coming in. The price is right. I don't know that I would buy another one to replace my current Chromecast. I will state for the record that that Colors is dumb because nobody's got. You plug it into the back of your television and you never see it again. And even worse, I think the form factor is terrible because even if they just remove the stick part, even if the disc is the same size as the current disc, the Chromecast is my least favorite thing to plug in because all my HDMI ports are in a row and I can't plug in. I have to waste a spot above and below it. Or I guess, if you do the last one at the bottom.
On my my living room TV, I use the front HDMI port on purpose because of that.
Right.
Right.
Well, in that case, I guess if you're gonna be an asshole stick and block other sticks so that you end up having to be in the front, you might as well make it a pretty color. But I think it's terrible. I look at this and I think there is no way they continue to do this moving forward. This is the equivalent of the hockey puck mouse from Apple. This is the kind of thing that looks great on paper, that it's so pretty and whatever. It provides no functional benefit whatsoever. It provides an active detriment. And then, fine, you want to do colors, who cares? I think that's dumb because it's essentially a virtually internal component that you plug into the back of the television.
But I will say, it comes with an extender. The first generation came with an extender cord so that it would be a little ways off the TV, so you could fit your other cords and devices in there.
But again,
it's important to mention that.
Yeah, but that's not.
But that's bad design if you have to
exactly.
do that.
That's not elegant.
Oh, yeah.
So that means instead of having something coolly plugged in, you got something dangling.
It feels like
off
what
the
they're
back.
saying is really the only device you need plugged into your television is a Chromecast. But I
that's so
guess
not
if you have
true.
one of those other ones, we'll give you an extension cord for it.
Yeah, I think that this is of course there's going to be significant software and hardware upgrades. I think everything else about this I hate, and I almost certainly won't.
I don't mind that. I mean, there's nothing wrong with giving colors, right? As long as they don't charge you extra for it, who cares?
Yeah.
Like some people like that. Maybe they maybe they use it on the front and they have a red theme in their room or something.
Let me
Whatever.
say this:
That's fine.
if you want to sell a thing, you give you only give choices when that adds to the experience. I don't think giving choice, because otherwise choices paralyze people.
But do you know who that adds the experience for? People who like colors.
Yeah, I guess that
It's
is
not
kind of
you
a
and
Google
me,
thing. Yeah,
But there's a lot of people like, ooh, I can get a red one, even though it doesn't make any sense. It's going to be in the back of the TV. That is the kind of thing that you do present as a choice because it is the kind of choice that people feel comfortable making. It's fashionable.
This is another one I'm going to kick to the audience. Cordkillers@gmail.com. Tell me, do you want your sticks to have color? Do you want to have that experience?
Yes, they do. I'm going to speak for them.
I disagree.
The book is called Citadel 32. It's available in stores now. Our guest has been myself, Tom Merritt.
Hey, man, can you hint? And by the way, for those who don't know, if you're new to the program, you could support the show two ways. We don't take ad money. We do take direct support from our patrons that keep us independent. And the other way you can support us is by buying our stuff. I got an online store. And more importantly, Tom has written how many books now?
I don't know, 5 or 6.
5 or 6. And in fact, I wanted to know, are you working on number 7?
I'm working on 7 and 8.
Right.
I've got one done, waiting for my editor to get to it, and I've got another one I think I'm going to put up on Inkshares once I've polished it up a little more.
Do you sign the books when you send them out?
Not when I don't send them out. They come straight from Lulu.com.
Oh, that's great. So
But
they're
if you
printed
bring
on
it to
demand.
me, anywhere you find me, I will sign it.
Awesome.
Yeah. And
Dude.
Scott Johnson did the cover of Citadel 32. In case you're wondering, the book is about a moon base that gets stranded after an apocalypse on Earth and has to survive on its own. We catch up with them years later while they're trying to survive. And then the resultant effect on Earth of the civilization there, and them sort of half remembering maybe there's a moon base. Is that a legend? So you got 2 parallel stories, and they intertwine in Citadel 32, available at TomMerrittBooks.com.
Would you say, like, if somebody liked The Martian coming in October, That they would like Citadel 32?
No, I wouldn't say that.
No?
I wouldn't say they wouldn't like it either, but I definitely wouldn't say...
You're like, Brian, there's no correlation between those two.
I would say, if you liked The Martian, well, that's because it's a really excellent book written by a professional writer.
He wasn't at the time, man. Andy Weir self-published
Who
that.
put a lot of work into it involving science.
All right.
Meanwhile, if you want an entertaining story that Tom made up, there's Citadel 32.
He's self-deprecating.
Let's move on to the front lines.
Front lines.
Netherlands-based communications company Altice has reached a deal to acquire Cablevision of the United States for $18 billion. Cablevision is the number 5 cable operator in the United States. Consolidation, but worries about too much consolidation within a market. And Altice, owned by a billionaire, he wants to do quad play because he's got mobile operators in Europe.
Wait, what's quad play?
You give telephone, internet, television, and mobile.
Oh, yeah.
Except I don't know. Who cares about landline that much? That's a dying market. But anyway.
Oh, yeah. No, I forgot that was still the thing.
Yeah.
I got to tell you, the fact I actually like this because it means that the 5th place player is going to get a cash infusion and a lot of, this is the kind of thing that could kick a company in the butt and they could start.
And Cablevision is always the one
player.
we're talking about that has done something innovative because they're number 5, right?
Yeah.
They're the ones who are like, yes, Netflix, put your servers in our. We want to be the one that has the better Netflix streaming, and yes, we will do all the net neutrality things because that's popular with people, right? And they'll sign up for our service if we do that. Great, we'll do whatever that is.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Hey man, subscription movie service Epix will let subscriber download movies for offline viewing starting this month. We're looking at you, Netflix. All the cool kids are letting people download their stuff.
Don't
They're not
give
confused.
in. Don't give in to the clicks who think people want to download these. They don't want to do that.
Okay,
It's just marketing. That's like putting colors on a Chromecast.
First of all, we
don't
do
give in.
We do want it. We do want it.
Nobody wants it. People think they want it.
Lies.
You can Steve Jobs them to death, Netflix.
Actually, I mean, it's not for us to tell Netflix what to do. They're
Honestly,
killing it right now.
I don't think this matters either way. To be my real honest to goodness opinion is like, yeah, sure, Epix do that, Amazon do that. A few people will like it. It makes it more sense for Amazon because they've got the ability to download things automatically in the new Fire tablets.
Oh, right on.
So they do kind of a TiVo thing where TiVo will just record things that it thinks you might like.
Yeah.
Amazon will, if you're a Prime subscriber, download things it thinks you might want to watch. So it makes sense in that respect. On the other hand, I don't think it hurts Netflix not to do it. I don't think anybody doesn't subscribe to Netflix because they're like, well, they don't have downloads.
I totally agree. Yeah. But it will. Yeah, that's exactly the play.
Hulu and BBC iPlayer are 2 apps already taking advantage of a new feature in Apple's iOS 9, the new operating system for phones and tablets, that lets you do picture-in-picture. In other words, if you have an iPad Mini 2, a Mini 3, or an iPad Air or Air 2, you can keep your video playing in a smaller box in the corner while you work on a spreadsheet or play Crossy Road or whatever it is you do in the main window. And Bryce, you were saying you tried this out and ran into an issue.
Yeah, I tried it out the day or two after iOS 9 came out. And my issue was that I would be watching my show. It would get to an ad break. It would play an ad, and then it would kill the picture-in-picture. I'd have to go back to the Hulu app. It would play the ad, and then and so I had to watch basically a second ad break, which really defeated the purpose. But otherwise, it's an all right experience. But
I've had that problem with Hulu in its earlier days, just in the web app, where like something would mess up and then you'd have to watch the ad break. So it doesn't surprise me that this brand new way of doing things has tripped them up that way.
Yeah.
Hey, YouTube, a multi-channel network, that's an MCN to you and me, Fullscreen announced that this week it has plans to launch its own streaming service featuring content from its creators in the coming months. Fullscreen's lineup includes Grace Helbig, the Fine Brothers, and more. Pricing and launch will be announced later. Electro Woman and Dyna Girl will be one of the launch titles.
Remember we were wondering, like, well, where are they going to show this when we were talking about them shooting that?
Yeah.
They're going to show it on their own service, whether they're going to show it.
So do you think they're gonna do, for example, Vessel artificially holds back content. You know, you get a week early, that's what you pay for. Full disclosure, Scams co participates in the Vessel agreement. entertainment. Do you think they're going to do anything like that to push people to their service ahead of time?
I think this is what they're doing. They're saying, hey, guess what? We're full screen. We have all these great stars. Why would we have them go to Vessel? We'll keep publishing on YouTube the way we always have, and then we'll make amazing stuff that you'll want to subscribe to full screen for the way you would want to subscribe to Netflix.
So it's going to be exclusive to their full screen service?
I would imagine so. Yeah.
Wow.
I think they're looking at it as we're going to be Netflix to YouTube's YouTube. Like Grace Helbig will continue to do her vlog and full screen will continue to do loads of shows on YouTube, but something with a lot more production value and a lot more money spent on it will be done on full screen. Now, that's not to say that Grace and the Fine Brothers and all their other creators might not also do a deal with Vessel to do an original over there. Might not also do a deal with YouTube to do an original over there. But I think what full screen is saying is we're going to have some hero properties that'll make you want to subscribe to this.
Yeah,
that's my guess.
2 years ago,
Wife works for YouTube. Don't know anything about it.
2 years ago, I would have thought this was crazy, but we really are entering the age where brands, individual people, are big enough characters that they can pull people off to those private islands and where they'll make a hell of a lot more money than YouTube ad revenue.
Here's what you want to hear my analogy.
Yeah,
YouTube is broadcast television.
Yep.
Vessel is like Bravo.
Okay.
Netflix is HBO.
Okay.
And full screen is sitting there going, you know what people have been saying for a long time is that Time Warner, because they or Warner Brothers, because they produce a bunch of stuff, just ought to have their own service. They can't do that because of all of these licensing deals that are historical. There's no historical licensing deals in this space. Let's cut the chase and be that production company that just puts stuff out directly.
So which channel would they be in this analogy?
They're Warner Brothers.
Oh,
just saying,
the studio.
Instead of giving Arrow to the CW and this other show to CBS, we're going to take some shows and put them out directly.
Boy, think about that. One of the things that the internet's done that's made it so disruptive is the elimination of the middleman. And now you can consider entire networks the middleman. You could think about content delivery systems like YouTube as the middleman. It's like, screw it. We got the content. We got the people. We got the fans. Just come straight to us.
Well, I see YouTube as broadcast because broadcast still gets the most viewers because it's been around forever and it's built up the habit, and YouTube is that in the internet speed, right? Which is like they've been around forever, they've built up the viewers, that's not going away. But something like Vessel is going to have a hard time getting up off the ground when you've got these other more direct ways of doing it.
Yeah, it's
and don't forget, Maker TV already did this. They launched a channel. It's on Sling TV.
And is it doing well, or we don't know?
I don't know.
If only Nielsen would track this kind of
Jury
stuff.
is still on honeymoon. I mean, Jury's still out. I mean, he'll be back on Night Attack this week.
And it's time to see what's under surveillance.
No, it's not. During the Emmys tonight, Andy Samberg noted that HBO CEO Richard Plepler has said he didn't mind users sharing HBO account passwords, so he gave out KhaleesiFan3 at emmyhost.com as the user ID and password1 as the password and said, it's working HBO Now account. Not kidding. Go log in. Several blogs were able to log in and actual working HBO Now account, and then the device limit was hit like that.
So let's speculate wildly. HBO in on this or not?
I think so.
Yeah.
What made me think they're in on it is, first of all, this is obviously a created account. Whether they're in on it or not, KhaleesiFan at emmyhost.com was created for this purpose. And they used HBO Now, not HBO Go. If I'm just Andy Samberg going rogue, I'm probably using HBO Go.
So
it's more likely.
Do you think there's a missed opportunity? Let's say if HBO was in on it, I mean, it seems to me if I'm HBO, I disable the device limitation. I let everybody play in 48 hours because HBO did that all the time.
Which is worse? People logging in and go, oh, I hit the device limit. I guess it was too good to be true. What a funny thing. Or I'm logged in, but shit don't work. What's wrong with this? Because there are so many people logged into the account that the servers can't handle that many logins.
And they downloaded the app.
First of all, we've talked. Oh, go ahead.
And they downloaded the app if they're on mobile. So they already have an app on their device now.
I mean, so here's why I bring this up. Is 30 years ago, back in the early 80s, there would be weekends where HBO was free the entire weekend long, and the idea was
that's different than having everybody log in on one account.
Yes,
technically,
but you know that this is a time limited account.
I'm just saying, telling the entire country to log into one account and lifting the device limit crashes that account.
I don't know that that's true.
It's like asking for a denial of service attack to that system.
Okay, well, how would that be different? Like, it seems to me like they could say it's free promo weekend at HBO Now. Log in with guest and watch everything.
I think you're coming at it from the wrong direction, which is like semantically not different at all. But if I'm the sysadmin and you come to me and you say, I'm Brian Brushwood, I'm the new Richard Plepler, and this is what I want to do because semantically it's the same, and I go, I can't guarantee that account will stay up, boss. I don't know what's going to happen if we let we let 1 million people log into the same account ID at the same time, because we have a system that manages this on authentication in a different way.
I feel
if
like
we
you're
just
making all
create
that
an
up,
account.
though.
No, I'm not.
We don't have inside information on how their system is set up, though.
No, I'm just saying if you give anyone an account and say loads of people log into this at once, the system is going to have a problem going, wait, why is everyone authenticating on this one account at the same time?
Well, no, I mean, obviously you would your guy set it up. Yeah, I mean,
maybe it would work, Brian, but if I say, I can't guarantee it's going to work, and you say if you leave the device limit up, then everything will be as normal, I'm leaving the device limit up. Because what that means is what Bryce said. Everybody downloaded the app. They logged in, got an experience that they entirely understand, which is like, well, of course there is a device limit. And then maybe they sign up for HBO Now. If they log in and it's like, this is broken. I can log in, but there's the system is confused because the system is not meant to have that many people use one account at the same time. Then that's a bad experience. I would totally avoid that.
And again, we don't know how their systems.
I know enough about how systems work to say that is a really bad idea.
Okay. It just seems like okay. So you're saying if we suppose that it's possible to just let all comers come in and spend a weekend experiencing it,
Carl, thank you, Carl. Tens of thousands of people hitting the same part of the same database equals locks, equals delays, equals poor user experience.
Okay, all right. Well, then that explains it very, very well. I just gotta feel like they could
if you said everybody can log in for free to HBO Now and everybody's creating a different account, that's going to work. That was probably going to work okay.
Yeah.
It's the fact that you're trying to funnel everyone into the same account that I'm worried about.
Yeah, if that's problematic, then I could see that.
That's what I'm telling you, boss.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's a bummer because I feel like that was an opportunity to get a lot of people to experience HBO Now instead of experiencing a closed door.
To download this app.
Yeah, I don't. But they didn't. Okay. Yeah. All
right. So anyway, Peter Dinklage won Best Actor Drama.
Hey, well earned, man.
Not a cord cutting thing, although HBO Now. It's kind of on the fence.
No. We're fans of Game of Thrones.
Right? Yeah. And no one else that we know of other than the three we met. 2 for Transparent, 1 for Orange is the New Black. Let's see what's under surveillance.
I like real estate. It's all about location. Under surveillance.
We got some new images of Jessica Jones. Kristen Ritter looking moody. Purple Man David Tennant, not looking purple, but wearing a purple scarf. And some other stills. I'm still pretty excited. I don't know if these stills made me more excited, but
but I mean, it's good to know that is coming and to see people in character. Do you think David Tennant has the curse of he'll always be Doctor Who to us? Yes. Christopher Eccleston only spent 1 year as the Doctor, so it's easier for me to see him transition. But David Tennant was such an iconic Doctor, even though I watched very little of that season. When I think of the Doctor, I pretty much think of David Tennant.
He's already been another series, Church something. I can't.
Christchurch or something, or Churchill or something.
Broadchurch.
What's that?
Broadchurch.
Broadchurch.
Bingo.
It was Please Go to Church.
Everybody get your broads to church was what that show was about. Anyway, I don't know. I think he can break out of it, and this might be the role to do it. But there's always a part of it.
And I mentioned before, I'm excited to see Carrie-Anne Moss doing other stuff. Like I really enjoyed her in Memento and of course Matrix and all that stuff.
Now, here's what I've been watching this week. Lots of stuff with Brian Brushwood because he's here in my house. So that means episodes 1 and 2 of Utopia, which we will definitely have a lot to say about.
Holy cow. Do we know who we can thank for sending those? Because we spoke just last week, Monday, we were saying we read a letter of somebody saying
Charles?
Somebody sent in like, you guys have to watch Utopia.
Hard to spell last name.
Okay.
With an R.
The next morning, 2 Blu-rays of Utopia came in. And I got to admit, the box art is really kind of cheesy looking. I did not expect much going into it, but we popped it in. And within the moment I saw the Blu-ray screen menu, I was like, oh, this looks cool stylistically. And I mean, spoiler alert, I was blown away by Utopia, and I cannot wait to talk about it in spoiler in time.
Yeah, my only regret about Utopia is that we haven't got to watch more of them because they're that good. We also both independently actually watched episodes 2, 3, and 4 of Narcos. We watched episode 1 together though, so we'll be talking about that. And man, without saying spoiler, each episode I'm so satisfied with. And then they give me a little bit at the end of it to go, oh, but I have to watch the next one. Like, they're so substantive. Yeah. They're like, not documentaries, but like,
might as well be
dramatic, biopics. Each episode is a biopic of its own.
When I read Kim Stanley Robinson's Red Mars, Green Mars, Blue Mars trilogy, the thing I love the most about it is they got so many of the facts of Mars, and it visualized what the life did, the day-to-day, the idea that every night at midnight there'd be a time slip and time would stand still for a while. And I left that series, even though it was fictional, just knowing about Mars as if I had lived there, everything from the length of the day to conditions and stuff. I get that vibe with Narcos because I've seen documentary stuff about Pablo Escobar, and yet watching the production of cocaine happen. This is all spoiler alert. There's cocaine involved. We'll
back off the details.
Sorry.
Mostly because we just want to save stuff for spoiler time.
It felt almost like a documentary. Just a lot of shows, people say, give it a couple episodes and it'll get its hooks into you. Not with this. Just watch the first episode, and it is so dense. I remember feeling exhausted afterward.
Of course, episode 6, season 7 of The Shield. I've continued to be sucked into episodes of Star Trek Voyager because Netflix tricked me, and it's a little like trip back to mid-90s me. Just hanging out watching Voyager. Watched a couple more Clone Wars. Season premiere of Doctor Who, which Brian doesn't watch, so we're not going to be talking about that on spoiler in time. I thought it was a bit of a mess, but I loved the idea that they took bad guys and turned them into allies without turning them into good guys. I think there was some really cool stuff that they played with there, and I really like the new attitudes for Clara and the Doctor that they've set up going forward. Obviously, bringing the Daleks in is always interesting and fun, and I think this is probably one of the better ways that Moffat has done it, and I'm interested to see how this story continues in episode 2 next week.
Right on.
Rugby World Cup, also streaming online. I can get it on Sling TV for certain games, and I can pay per view for online viewing of others. So watched one of the most epic games in rugby history yesterday when Japan upset South Africa, just streaming on my TV.
What was great was I was walking around the house while you were doing that, and I caught it out of the corner of my eye. Never occurred to me that it was streaming over Sling TV. Like, I just assumed, like, oh, he's watching over-the-air television. It looks great.
Nope.
And then, but that was all an over-the-top experience.
Yeah. All right, Mr. Bryce Castillo, I know you've been moving, so there's probably not as much on your lookout as usual. But what is there to tell?
So this is a bit of an oldie. It's a classic. It's a classic. But if you are into streaming stuff, you might know about it. But I bet there's a lot of people who just don't know about it. It's one of Netflix's first original series, House of Cards. I was thinking back onto season 1, which follows Frank Underwood, a congressional whip, who, after helping the president, somebody, the president reneges on his promise to make Frank the Secretary of State, and it starts this entire chain of revenge, and follows Frank and his wife Claire as they move up the ladder in Washington, D.C. You guys have both seen. Have you guys seen all the way through season 3?
Yes, I have.
Yeah.
I
almost just dropped a major spoiler. I was like, all the way through the part where
where so and so sticks a bump in the.
Yeah, I'm being very specific about the wording here. But I think especially what is great about season 1 is that the motives of the main characters is very clear. Yeah. I think it gets a little muddy in season 2 and 3, where it's just kind of like the characters are either so complicated that you can't nail the motivation down, or it's an incredibly base, like just kind of banal sort of motivation. But with season 1, it's a little more introspective. It's a little slower. But
I think also in season 1 you see, Frank Underwood at his best in the most Frank Underwood
Because he's the most
way.
underdog.
Yes. Well,
Right.
and also he has a very clear vision and is going for it. Whereas season 2, you see,
He's already achieved a few things,
yeah,
right?
Right.
Yeah.
Season 1, he has everything to achieve.
Yeah, and
Exactly.
in season 3, we want to see a little bit of depth of character, so we go to some places that are very un-Frank Underwoody. But it's like he is defined by that first season.
Right. And I do think it is a great series start to finish, but definitely season 1 is going to make it or break it for you. So that's on Netflix now. There's 3 seasons, and my guess is that it'll come back in February like the other seasons have, but it's still a little too early to have a release date for that.
All right. Well, let's get right into some dispatches because they're from the front
Yeah,
of our queue of emails.
people are smoking cigarettes, they're drinking whiskey, and they're shooting the enemy
Playing soccer in no man's land.
on Christmas Eve.
Insta dispatch from Ken Frankel on Twitter says, "Hey, the Emmys really did some spoilers. Nobody should get mad at you guys anymore for spoilering things." He's right. They did a tribute reel to shows that had their final episodes, which in some cases, like David Letterman saying, "For the last time, I'm going to say thank you and good night." Like, oh, that's really cute. For, I don't know, the ends of Sons of Anarchy, the entire series,
I still don't-
showing me the final
I still don't
piece
know.
of information.
I still don't
Yeah.
know, and I'm glad I didn't watch the Emmys.
Pretty much every show that ended this year, including Mad Men, they showed the final scene of that.
Wow! What? So save your righteous ire for I don't know, the freaking Emmys. Dropping a spoiler nuke,
Like a
We're just-
spoiler reel.
we hurl the occasional hand grenade, but it's like we're not like the Emmys bad.
Oh, so this person died, and this person died, and this person died. Like, wow. Well done, Emmys.
That is amazing.
Our first message says on your last show, you guys talked about how it would be nice to easily be able to download Netflix shows for offline viewing. I've been able to download shows from all the major online sites and many more using a companion program to play on called Play Later. HD quality, easy to use, transfer to my TiVo using TiVo Desktop or my iPad using iTunes, one-time cost of $49. You don't even have to pay $49. Just go to Lifehacker and do a search, how to download streaming video. There's tons of free utilities out there, free websites where you can just put in a link, especially for YouTube videos. Yes, there's lots of ways to capture streaming video to your hard drive and turn it into files you can watch later.
Do you think, and I know that you and I both have clearly read all the pages of the usage license agreement for
Right,
Netflix.
right.
Do you
I mean,
think
we agreed to it.
Do you
So-
happen to remember if that is specifically mentioned in there?
Yeah, you shouldn't do this as a Netflix user because it is prevented by your terms of use.
Oh.
So do check with the service you're capturing to make sure it is permitted by the terms of service.
Yeah. Or
Because otherwise you're breaking your terms of service.
oh, geez, wouldn't that be awful? Then they could cancel your account.
I'm just assuming that when our emailer says that he has done this with Netflix shows, that he got special permission.
Well, he wrote them and
them,
say, "Hey,
yeah.
bro, cool by you. I'm gonna save some of these." And then they wrote back saying, "You know what?
In your case,
Yeah, that's
it's
fine.
going to be okay.
Got it. Then he wrote the NFL asking for permission to say the NFL. Tyler says, "Do we know of a way to translate DVDs to a digital format? I know DRM makes this hard and illegal, but I was hoping the production studios would get behind this as we transition from DVD to digital as a society." Let's take that first one first, then we'll ask the second part.
Yeah, so Handbrake is a DVD ripper that is legal.
Yep.
It does not circumvent DRM on its own. Totally unrelated note, Handbrake has add-on extensions that you can install that allow it to add functionality that it doesn't come with distributed. Those two facts are presented in an independent format, one from another. There's also a really cool thing that you can do. I wish I could remember the URL. You have to search around for it. Where if you own a DVD for like $1 or $2, we've talked
that's
about it on
right.
the show before, you can certify it with Ultraviolet and get a digital copy. I've done that with Casablanca. My DVD of Casablanca, paid $2 and got a digital copy. Now that offends a lot of people. Who are like, I already own the movie. Why do I got to pay to get another one? But if there's just one DVD that you really love, or maybe a couple, it might be worth the $1 or $2 just to not have to go rip it yourself.
And I think it's worth pointing out that the industry seems to be moving towards actually acknowledging that people want digital copies of stuff. I know that all the Disney titles, or a bunch of the Disney titles, you can get the physical media, and then they also give you the ability to have the digital version as well. And in fact, there's a whole gray market industry of people who go out and buy DVDs and then sell the DVDs and keep the digital, or sell the digital and move it. Second question says, what options do you know of for renting movie content? iTunes and Amazons are great for this, but subject to delays in the studio's distribution plans. Movie is available only to buy only for a few months before rental is an option. Yeah, bro, welcome to Hollywood. That ain't going to change. That's the way it's always been. In fact, back in the 90s, when DVDs came out, they were priced to buy. That's when you would find them available for a short window from, $12 to $14, and then they would go into library mode and everything was $20.
And I will say that the delay of digital behind a DVD release will go away.
Yeah.
Like, that is a dying thing. And you will start to see these available for rent sooner after movies leave theaters, as the market shifts to digital rentals. So I think all Tyler's saying is, well, right now I see that I can rent the DVD, but I can't get the digital. What other options do I have? None, except waiting.
Well, yeah, and he was specifically talking about renting, because
no, I'm saying he can rent the DVD.
Yeah,
but he can't rent the digital because they still put a gap between your ability to rent the DVD and rent the digital.
Right, but still, it should be noted that's where they make a lot of money. They intentionally delay the rental window so that for a brief while, if you want to see it, you gotta buy it. They
intentionally delay the gap between renting a DVD and renting digital because they used to make more money off the DVD rentals. Gaps. So they're narrowing that gap.
Yeah.
Because they're realizing, we're actually starting to make more money on digital all the time.
Yeah, but you will have to wait longer for rentals.
We also we got that URL for the disc to digital. If you go to voodoo.com/disc_to_digital.html.
Thank you, man. That's awesome.
Awesome.
DVD for $2 to $5.
Steven Radke in Cedar Park, Texas.
Hey, that's just up the road from my place.
I know.
Other side of town.
Oh, I live there.
He wrote that he went to Alltex Computers in Austin, Texas.
Alltex, man, and for those of you who don't know, many places have a Fry's. Alltex is like the homegrown version of Fry's with a heavier focus on, like, you could go and buy Cat5 cable and crimpers and make your own network setups.
Well, and I won't read his entire email, but essentially that's what he did. He bought 4 flat tennis for $10 each, and then he went and cut his cable. Like, he literally cut
the cord, right?
And attached them to the flat tennis, so that he could get the flat tennis in places where they would get better reception for the different channels, and then
he essentially has like a 4-pronged
and use the internal cabling that was already there from Time Warner.
Wow!
To say, like, I didn't have to run any more cables. Now my flat tennis are routed to all my televisions through the existing cable, and because he's a forward-thinking guy, he put a switch where he cut the cable and added it to the flantennas that goes out to the cable box. And he says, if I ever decide to turn back on cable, all I do is flip that switch and cable will route through my cable system.
Oh my God, he's got a 4-headed Hydra freaking mesh network of antennas all over his house. Yeah. That's fantastic. Well done, Steven.
So if you want to mimic that, go to the show notes, cordkillers.com, and thanks to Joe who puts those together for us, and read Steven's email because he has all the details there.
Ferris Alasami writes, Dear Tom and Brian, I wanted to keep you updated on a new revolution in cord cutting in the Middle East and North Africa. ICFlix, that's ICFlix. That's probably not IFlix, it's probably ICFlix. The Netflix clone just surfaced in the area with a huge selection of movies and TV shows, and it costs just $8 US per month. Comes pre-installed with all new LG and Samsung smart TVs and has apps on consoles, smartphones, and tablets. The price includes simultaneous streaming for 5 devices of libraries of movies of Hollywood, Bollywood, and Jazzwoods. The latter 2 are Indian and Arabic movies.
Oh, cool.
The Walking Dead is the first thing I searched for, and surely it was there. And since all major football, soccer, are already available for paid streaming on beIN Sports?
beIN.
beIN.
That's on Sling TV also.
beIN. Okay, beIN Sports and NFL Game Pass available to the Middle East. Everyone in the Middle East and North Africa can finally cut the cord and never go back. Yours, Faris. That is fantastic, man. What great news.
Excellent insight from North Africa. Thank you for writing in, Faris. Sarah in sunny Seattle says, I can already stream Cord Killers on my Apple TV through the podcast app.
Oh, that's true.
So not live, but if you were like, I've got an Apple TV, how can I watch Cord Killers? There you go. Boom.
Yep. And of course, on Roku, we have our own channel. If you go to Diamond Club TV, and you can check that one out. Brian and Tom, says Aaron, with the most recent show, you were talking about scenarios where offline streaming would be useful outside of planning trips. I watch a ton of video on my tablet and my tractor. I've got an unlimited data plan, so the 70 gigabytes or more per month of mobile data doesn't cost anything, but there is a lot of my farm where Verizon doesn't work well enough for streaming video. I usually fill up my tablet at night using Plex, which isn't always legal as I'd like. So having an offline option with Netflix would be huge. Imagine burning through a 12-episode season of TV every day for a month, and you can see just how nice it would be to have to work a little less hard at sourcing content. Can I just say for the record, that's Smoggy Sharon, Kansas is where he's from. Aaron Traffis wrote that. I just love the fact that back to back, we got a letter from the Middle East and a letter from the farmlands of Kansas and one from just up the road of my place.
In Cedar Park. Yeah.
That's amazing.
It's fantastic. And I was like, I was hitting my head when I read this email. I'm like, oh, yeah, of course. You're out on a 10, 12 acres.
Yep.
You're not going to get Wi-Fi. You're not going to want to eat up all your data. Even if you do have good coverage out there, you're going to want to have offline viewing.
No, it makes sense. That's fantastic.
Yeah. That is it for this episode of Cord Killers. Our website is cordkillers.com. Go there and get all of these great emails and links and everything. Our email address is cordkillers@gmail.com. We're live on diamondclub.tv, usually on Mondays at 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific, unless Brian's dancing the day away.
Hey, man, speaking of which, fair warning, guys, I'm definitely going to be that guy asking for you to vote for me because that's how all these reality things work. There's definitely an important aspect that you guys play in it, so please follow us on the social medias and forgive me as I continue to hammer begging for your votes.
We will dance into your lives again next Monday. Literally on his point, absolutely figuratively on mine.
Hey guys, Tom and Brian here. We just wanted to say thank you to all of our $5 patrons who keep us loud, live, and independent. You guys make Cord Killers the production that it is.
Your name appears in the video credits and appears in our hearts. And if you'd like to become one of them or see who they are, you can go to patreon.com/cordkillers.
You'll need to do more than just go there, though. You'll have to sign up and, pledge an amount. But
Unless you just want to see who they are.
Well, I mean, you could gawk. That's a little creepy, isn't it?
If you want to be a gawker,
Let's go.
it's up to you.
Diamond Club hopes you have enjoyed this program.